All right, stand by. I'm going to play the intro, and we'll be off to the so-called races. Here we go. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Weird World Weekly, a production of Galactic Netcasts. I'm Dave Nelson, and that there is Matt Stein. Hello, Matt.
It could just be addition.
Sure. Or I'm so effing tired right now that my body's saying, you know what? Let's not mess with saying complete words. Let's use part of the word, but make it sound just enough to know what you're trying to get at.
I know the feeling. There's been more than one time where my brain and my mouth are not working together. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes I cannot form complete sentences.
It sucks when that happens.
It's the worst.
Okay, guess what? We are back. This is the first episode of 2016. Are you feeling the new year?
I'd be feeling it more if it wasn't like 2 degrees outside.
But isn't that what it's supposed to be in January?
Well, see, the thing is we had a really mild winter up until the point at which we got a foot of snow. Like, we had no snow through Christmas, which was very unusual. And then 2 weeks ago, we got a foot of snow. And it went from a foot of snow to being single-digit degrees temperature. And now it's going to be in the 30s the next 2 days, which is strange. Back down into like single digits with, negatives overnight. The weather's really toying with my emotions.
See, you're saying exactly what our weather has been like here. It's exactly
everywhere. And yeah, it's normally really cold here in Wisconsin at this time of year, but it's usually eases into it a little bit. This is like we forgot to pay our pimp, and he's just laying it down.
All right, let's pay our pimps. I don't know what that means, but let's just get into things here. This is the podcast where we discuss the paranormal, the mythological, conspiratorial, unexplained, or anything else that fits our definition of weird, odd, strange, or unusual. Before we start, we'd like to remind you that Weird World Weekly is part of a bigger whole, and that whole keeps on getting bigger all the time. Galactic Netcasts network of podcasts, and you can help us pay for little things like web hosting, audio hosting, maybe some advertising, and someday we'll give a little money to Matt for doing this with me and putting up with you can do that by supporting us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/Galactic Netcasts. That's patreon.com/Galactic Netcasts, and pledge as little as $1 a month. If you pledge even more every month, you'll get cool rewards like for $3, get a newsletter once a month with extra stories related to our podcasts, or $5 gets you an extra episode of each of our podcasts available exclusively to our patrons. So again, go to patreon.com/Galactic Netcasts, and we thank you in advance. One more thing, also follow us on Twitter, join our Facebook group, or subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch our shows later by searching Galactic Netcasts or by clicking the social network buttons, the buttons on our website. All right, Matt, are you ready?
I'm always ready. That's all.
Were you born ready?
I'd like to say so, but 98% of the time I am not ready for whatever I'm being asked if I'm ready for. Fortunately, I'm ready for this because we planned ahead of time that this is the time in which we would be doing this, so I'm ready.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm glad that you explained that so fully. I feel well-informed now.
Well-informed is my middle name.
All right, so what we're going to talk about this week is wartime monster sightings. Like, we've talked about these mythological creatures on many an episode, like the cryptids of North America. That was something that we did, right?
Yes, that was fun. I keep seeing things about new cryptids too, so we might have to revisit that.
Ooh, okay. I'll do my research and get back to you on that. But our story this time is something along those lines. It's wartime monster sightings. If wartime wasn't bad enough, you throw in a monster and you got a party.
I guess it depends on what kind of partying you like to do as to if a wartime monster makes it a party or not.
Party with a lot of crappy things going on and death.
I wouldn't call that a party. I would call that something else.
So what I did is I found this article on Listverse. We've gone to the Listverse well plenty of times, and they always do theirs in 10s. So I grabbed my favorite 3 out of those 10s, and that's what we'll talk about here on this episode of Weird World Weekly. So the first one is called, and I love this name, the Moorbach Monster. The Moorbach. Without looking ahead, Matt, what do you think is the Moorbach Monster's traits? What do you think he does or she does?
I cannot think of anything that is not kind of racist.
Oh, okay.
I know. I'm guessing it's German. Probably likes potato salad and beer.
Just like you, right? You are the Moorbach Monster.
I do love potato salad and beer and sauerkraut and sausage.
And you're correct by saying it is German. According to the story, a deserter from Napoleon's army found his way to the German town of Wittlich, where he attacked and murdered a local farmer and his wife. However, before the farmer's wife drew her last breath, she cast a curse on the soldier, turning him into a monstrous wolf. Oh. Mad with rage, the creature rampaged through the countryside until a mob of townsfolk hunted it down and killed it.
Always like a woman to be screwing something up.
Yeah, never scorn a woman, right? That's a thing. That's something.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned for Sega.
There you go. For Sega?
It's from Mallrats.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Just wants to play NHL 95.
Are the games in that movie pretty dated? Like I know that's what, mid 90s, right?
Yeah. I know the Sega game is NHL 94, 95 or something. I don't specifically remember other games. I know that there's the VHS tape that they're going after, which is pretty funny. So Bob uses the Force to pick up the VHS that fell.
That's right. I hear that they're going to make a sequel to Mallrats.
I mean, I hope so. I really like the only one. But he's apparently done it for Clerks 3. So unless it comes out before Clerks 3. That's a different podcast, though.
Okay. Here's what else happened. Here's the follow-up to the Moorbach Monster. Because we're not done yet. Apparently, the Moorbach Monster may not be legend, at least if the experiences of American servicemen stationed at a nearby airbase during the Cold War are to be believed. Apparently, a number of American troops saw a mysterious wolf-like creature while on patrol. One airman said he had been stalked by a hidden, howling beast while walking his dogs. Scary.
Hell yeah. If I was walking my dogs and something was following me around, no bueno.
There was a part of this article that I did not include that said that apparently they used this legend to freak out soldiers like newbies. You know how you're new at a job or, the new guy and they pull tricks, fast ones on the new people. And apparently that was part of their initiation was all tall tales about the Moorbach Monster. So that might be part of it. All right. Are you ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay. How about the Hound of Mon? It says it's spelled M-O-N-S, but it's French. So I'm guessing it's Mon. The Hound of Mon.
They probably ate a lot of croissants.
Okay, so according to Canadian World War I veteran Captain F.J. Newhouse, Allied soldiers in the trenches at Mons had found themselves hunted by a terrifying beast. So this is where the whole, not only is war bad, but you throw a monster or a beast, then it's even worse. So
Double bad.
I know, double complete badness. It all started in 1914 when British Captain Yeskes, Yeskes, probably not pronounced the way I said it, took 4 soldiers out into no man's land on patrol. That was if you're not familiar with World War I, it was all about the trenches, right? So you had the German trenches on one side, you had the Allied trenches on the other, and there was this piece of land in between. And that was called no man's land because that would be your field of fire. That'd be where artillery was fired into, or like hand grenades, right?
Essentially the death zone.
Yeah. You don't want to spend too much time in no man's land.
You're not going to live. That's the moral of the story. You're going to die.
So this captain took the 4 soldiers, but they didn't return. They never came back. And their comrades were worried that they might have been intercepted by the Germans. But days later, their dead bodies were found with teeth throats.
Someone might have been hungry, though.
Or, it's either this hound or the Germans were trying a new tactic to run out there and chomp on their necks.
Chew someone's neck off.
Yeah.
Possible. I'm not saying it's not true, but I'm not saying it's true.
So you're doing the ancient aliens guy. I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So if you don't think things could get any worse, you'd be wrong, because things got worse.
Things can always get worse.
I know. Because okay, so here's a scenario. Let's say the world's going through climactic upheaval, right? Let's say we have a monster like El Nino, like an El Nino on steroids, like worse than it is this year. Okay.
Oh, it's like what's currently happening outside.
Yeah. So things could get worse. Like we could get hit by a what they call a what's the thing from the sun? A
solar flare.
Solar flare. Yeah, that could screw some things up. So things could get worse.
I just had one of those moments that Corey can relate to, where I black out and then the answer comes to, and I just say it and I'm right. Because that happened when we were on Trivia Geeks quite a bit, and he's butthurt about it.
It's like you're being possessed by the answer.
Possessed by a knowledge demon.
Okay.
But things could always get worse, because a homeless man could come up and take a shit on your foot.
Yes.
So it can always get worse.
And it did for these guys, because terrible howls echoed across the landscape, and soldiers reported seeing strange movements beyond the barbed wire. Patrols into no man's land would be found horribly mauled, as if by some great beast.
Yeah, but don't you think that they're potentially seeing a bear or some other actual animal that's killing these people, and because they think it's something terrible, that when they just see the shadow or they see a rustling, that their brains kind of screw with them?
Yeah, I think you're totally right. I believe that they were freaked out enough, number one, by war, but then number two, the story of the patrol that didn't come back but were found with teeth marks. So a story built, and that got, amplified in your head, right? So
like with most cryptids, most things of this nature, it's always, I think it's perpetuated by your own imagination.
Yes.
You get something like when you're a kid and you heard about something, like we've talked about urban legends and stuff. When you're a kid, you hear about it, and you get to the place where the urban legend is supposed to take place, and it's not really that bad, but you make yourself think it's really that bad. And the internet has ruined that for children.
Yeah, and things are always worse in your head, right?
Like, absolutely.
I started a new job last week, and I'm like all nervous because it's like new experiences, but then it didn't turn out to be as bad as I thought. So, that's one case.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do the third and final one. It's the Brosno Dragon.
The Bronson Dragon?
Oh, that's what it is.
No, it's Brosno. I just
Oh,
kept thinking Bronson, like Action Bronson.
Who's the actor? James Bronson?
I think so.
Charles. Charles
Charles
Bronson.
Bronson. Is it Yep, Charles Bronson.
Yep.
Oh, you're
He
good.
did the thanks. Not the Dirty Harry movies. He did the what movies did he do? It was the series of movies where he was the cop. But he didn't
Death
take
Wish.
any prison. Death Wish, yes. Thank you.
I feel like these are movies I should watch.
Yeah, totally up your alley. They're like 1970s bad movies.
I bet he's got a big mustache.
I think you'd be right.
Well, 70s cop movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Either in the 1970s or 2015. You judge.
They're pretty much the same at this point.
Yeah. So according to legend, a fearsome horde of Tatar horsemen were on their way back, or on their way to sack the city of Novgorod. No, I'm saying that wrong.
Novgorod.
Novgorod. When they decided to stop by for a rest by Lake Brosno, about 250 miles south of Moscow. Suddenly, a huge reptilian monster lunged out of the water and began attacking both men and horses. Taking the dragon attack as a bad sign, the Tatars decided to leave Novgorod alone and just go home instead. It's been a long day. Sorry.
It's all right. It's funny. I really enjoy listening to you try to pronounce these things.
let's you should just give me really hard to pronounce words, and that could be like our little game on the podcast. Let's hear.
Let's play Dave Screws Up Another Foreign Word.
Yeah. So there's more to the story, of course.
Always is.
It always is. Hundreds of years later, during World War II, it's reported that the lake creature leaped from the water and swallowed a German plane whole. Swallowed the whole plane. How's that even possible?
He was hungry.
Yeah, he was. I mean, a monster's got to eat, right?
Yep.
A reptilian monster has to eat.
It's not a good diet of planes and horses.
A lot of roughage there.
Yeah.
Stories about a monster in Lake Brosno abound, essentially making what they call Brosnia, that's the name, Russia's equivalent to the Loch Ness Monster. So there you go.
And that's what I thought it was, the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
Is it possible that they're one and the same? Maybe he spends his summers in Moscow?
Yes, exactly. Summers in Moscow, winters in Scotland.
Yep.
Exactly. So there you have it. There's your wartime monsters. Do you believe them? Do you think it's just a tall tale amplified over time? Let us know. We would love to hear your feedback. All right. Go to galacticnetcasts.com/weird. That's gncasts.com/weird. That's gncasts.com/weird. That's our show page. Or go to gncasts.com, and that's the network page for this and all the other great podcasts on the Galactic Netcast network. But what I wanted to get at was feedback. So let us know what you think of these stories. Send us email, weird@gncasts.com. That's weird@gncasts.com. Or call our voicemail number, 805-328-3966. That's 805-328-3966. And also, as I click this button, Matt, do you want to say that last paragraph?
I don't know, you guys going to throw me off.
Sorry. It's the very last thing at the very bottom of the page.
I know. Subscribe to this podcast via iTunes, and if you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and write a review. We're also on Stitcher Smart Radio, and you can leave a comment on this episode there as well. All subscription options and links can be found under the subscribe tab at gncasts.com.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. Matt, until next time, what do you want to do?
Keep it wacky. I mean, weird. Weird. Keep it weird.
Keep it weird. All right. Goodbye. Just let it fade out. And I turned down the wrong thing. I was going to turn this down right here, but I picked the wrong thing. I turned the thing down right next to it. Okay, sorry.
It happens.
I'll fix that in post.
Sorry, you caught me off guard. I was looking at directions from Scotland to Moscow to see how far the Loch Ness Monster would have to go.
Oh. How far would he have to go?
It's like 2,200 miles, but it's lateral.
So straight.
Essentially, yeah.
You have to dig a tunnel or find tunnels that are more or less straight between Moscow and Scotland.
I mean, he can drive a car, but
there's.
You all right?
Got water all over the place down here. Sorry. I forgot I had that bag of ice. All right, hang on.
There's like a 35-mile long underwater tunnel that you can drive through to get from England to France.
Yeah, you didn't know that? It's called the Channel.
I knew I had heard of the Channel. I felt like it was like a railroad tunnel.
Well, I think it's both. I think it's both something you can drive through and there's a train.
Man, that would be fucking terrifying. Crap, pooping terrifying. Sorry.
Oh, it would. I couldn't do it. I think I could do the train, but I probably couldn't do the driving.
Yeesh. Wow, that's crazy. It might only be a train.
Okay.
Channel.com. The site may be hacked.
What?
That's what it says on Google.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I'm going to speed us through here. I'm just trying to maximize my evening.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I never want to make it. Fuck it. I'm done talking.
Never want to make it a miserable experience for me. Is that what you're
No, well, not only that. I don't want to like forcibly speed it along, but I also don't want to drag.
Yeah. I just I'm trying to. I don't want to waste my whole evening down here I want to spend time with my wife.
Yeah, same here. Alyssa got home like 5 minutes before we started, so she was being a woman.
Being a woman. All right. Okay, so we're still live. So I'm just gonna turn down my microphone.
Turn down for what? Sorry, I'll mute.
All right, here we go. Hello and welcome to Weird World Weekly from Galactic Netcasts. I'm Dave Nelson. Joining me as always, my co-host for the past 51 episodes. Actually 52. This is 52. We've completely done 51 complete episodes. This is 52. Matt Stein. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Dave.
Actually, it'd be 53 if you count the very first episode, which was just basically a conversation between you and I about your experiences with the paranormal.
Oh yeah, man, that was what was a year ago? A little more than a year ago.
It was more than a year ago. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We don't do an episode like if we would have done an episode a week, it would be exactly a year. But we'll miss weeks from time to time. So it's probably more like a year and a half since we started, I think.
Take your word for it.
Hey, by the way, 2016 is also the 50-year anniversary of Galactic Netcasts. So that's another reason to celebrate.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 5 years since we launched this puppy.
I remember our first shows together.
Yeah, because, really, I mean, Brad's been with me for a long time. Brad from Alien Invasion and Sci-Fi Geeks Club. But you and I did podcasts before he joined. You and I did that What If podcast.
Yeah, that was... Yeah.
And
was
then
that. What was the first one that was on Galactic Netcast?
I did a thing called Sci-Fi Daily, where it was just me talking about the sci-fi news of the day, like 3-minute long deal. And then I did something with somebody else, a mutual friend of ours, but then you and I started What If, and then then you took over Newbie and the Geek, which was Newbie and something in the Geek, I forget. And we changed it to, that was the name, right? Newbie and the Geek?
When it was you and Eddie, it was Newbie and the Geek, and then it turned into the Sci-Fi Film School.
Yep. Then it was UI, and then Anessa joined us eventually. Yep. All right, that's your history of Galactic Netcasts.
There's more in there too, but it's
most of what you just heard us talk about, you can't listen to.
I'd like to say it was a cocaine-fueled haze, but it wasn't. Not at all.
All right, let's talk about this podcast. This is the show where we discuss the paranormal, the mythological, the conspiratorial, unexplained, or anything else that fits our definition of weird, odd, strange, or unusual. Before we start, would like to remind you that, of course, Weird World Weekly is part of a bigger network, as you just heard when we talked about the history of Galactic Netcasts. But if you'd like to help us out financially, support us doing like paying for web or audio hosting, you can do that by going to patreon.com/Galactic Netcasts. I believe it's www.patreon.com/Galactic Netcasts. And you can pledge as little as $1 a month. If you pledge more, the rewards get even more greater. Like $3 a month, you'll get a newsletter chock full of stories from the weird. Or $5 a month, you'll get an extra episode that we still got to figure out what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. And that's something that you and I have to talk about. But either way, just please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Galactic Netcast, because we could use your help with the stuff that I talked about. We're not trying to get rich. We're just trying to keep the lights on, as they say. And you can do that by supporting us on Patreon. Also, you can support us by joining our social network stuff online. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. And you can either just search for Galactic Netcasts at those places, or just go to our website, gncasts.com, and find the buttons with the links and the stuff like that, where you can get to those places. All right, let's start talking about what we're here to talk about. And it's the damn it. See, I actually did my research a couple of days ago and found out how to pronounce this, and I don't remember how to pronounce it. Maybe you do, Matt.
No, I don't, but I am going to try and Google and see if there is.
Yeah. Go to Google, and hopefully one of those YouTube videos pops up. You play that, and we'll find out from the woman, how to pronounce it.
I've never seen those. I usually just go to Wikipedia because it has a pronunciation.
Oh, okay.
Is it Taos?
Taos. Okay.
Taos. There we go. Thank you, Wikipedia.
The Taos Hum. Okay. Have you ever heard of the Taos Hum?
The Taos House?
Taos House. Yes.
I've never heard of the Taos Hum.
Okay. So basically, it's this hum that some people can hear, others can't, in the small city of Taos, New Mexico. So residents have for years been annoyed by and puzzled by a mysterious and faint low-frequency hum in the desert air. Oddly, only about 2% of Taos residents report hearing the sound. Some believe it's caused by unusual acoustics. Others suspect mass hysteria or some secret, sinister purpose. Whether described as a whir, a hum, or buzz, or whether psychological, natural, or supernatural, no one has yet to be able to locate the sound's origin. Pretty cool. Eh? Kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. I actually, my best friend, him and his girlfriend are on a cross country drive. I don't. They're going to state parks and stuff, and he's running a marathon in Death Valley. But I just texted him to ask him if he can stop in Taos, New Mexico, to see if it's really humming or not. I also will be driving through Indiana on our way to Ohio at the beginning of March for the Arnold Classic. So I see Kokomo, Indiana is listed as another city.
Yes, it is, and we'll get to that in a second. At the end of this article, there's a bunch of other cities around the world.
You have me to jump the gun.
No, it's okay. I do have to say that your signal is getting crappy all of a sudden, so I don't know what you did.
Pornography. It's the pornography store.
So maybe it'll clear up while I yap at you here. In Taos, the annoyance was so acute for the hearers, that's what they call them, the hearers, the people that hear the hum, that they banded together in 1993 and petitioned Congress to investigate and help them find the source of the noise. No conclusive causes were discovered. One prevailing theory holds that the hum is created by a military communication system used to contact submarines.
So is it confirmed that everyone in Taos hears this?
Could Matt, you're still kind of in and out. Do you think you maybe want to unplug your headphones and plug it back in again just to see if that helps, that fixes it?
I have done your bidding. Is it fixed?
It's not fixed, no. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what could be causing that. You know, it's funny that it just started happening when we were talking about the Taos hum.
The hum? I blame the hum.
Hey, you're back. You're good. Okay.
I turned it off and turned it back on again.
There you go. See, it's the IT guy in you.
Yeah, that 40 grand in student loans really paying off.
You turn it off and turn it back on again.
It's gonna have flashbacks of work, but you derailed me. You've derailed me. So I was asking, do you think it's everyone that hears this in Taos, or only certain people?
Yeah, only 2% of the residents hear it.
So maybe 2% of the residents are alcoholics.
You're not too far from the truth. I think that some people's hearing is more tuned into a certain frequency.
Well, it's the same thing with like asparagus. You eat asparagus, makes your pee smell. Only certain people can smell asparagus pee.
I did not know that.
Really? You didn't know that? I love eating asparagus, and then I love peeing asparagus pee because it reminds me of how much I enjoyed eating asparagus.
That's interesting. Okay. Another similar thing to that would be the sound that younger people's ears can hear, but older people's ears can't. You ever heard of that?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. I've heard that different age demographics can hear differently, but I wonder if the upbringing would have something to do with it. Dave's running away. He's gonna have a hard time editing all of this out in post. I feel like I'm just talking to myself.
Sorry, I had to go get or do something real quick.
That's fine. Yeah, so different age demographics can hear differently. I've heard that before, but I wonder if like their upbringing would matter. You know, like when I was a kid, they didn't have earbuds. Now all kids have earbuds because earbuds are wildly more popular. So you think that maybe loud music so close to their eardrums could do something to damage the ability to hear. You know what I mean? Yeah. So something to that effect might also change what percent of the population or who of the population can actually hear the humming.
No, these are all very, very interesting theories, and I think
it kind of plays off of the episode we did where it's like the booming and the horns, and weird sounds in random places.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I think there's a lot of possible reasons for this, and it could be a combination of multiple causes. I don't think it's one thing. Let's talk about the other places in the world where they have similar phenomena as this. How about Bristol, England? Daryl?
Yeah.
Waiting for your report from Bristol, England. I know he's probably not even close to Bristol, but when we talk about English things, we talk about Daryl from our network.
All I know is that Daryl lives in the Humpy bit.
He what?
He describes me as being in the Humpy bit.
Okay, you're gonna have to turn your mixer off and on again because it's crappy again. I'll wait.
How's this?
Okay, you're back.
Okay. Daryl says he lives in the Humpy bit, which is the east side of the southeast corner of the island. Bristol is in the southwest.
Okay. Again, this is like when you don't live somewhere, you think everything is like close to each other.
Yep.
So, lesson learned, I guess. First reported in the 1970s by around 80 people living in different parts of the city, according to a French researcher. In this case, the hum is caused by the presence or the pressure of the waves on the seafloor, generating seismic waves, which causes the earth to oscillate. I don't know if I believe that. That sounds like a bunch of baloney.
Yeah, it sounds like complete hogwash.
Or it might be really good science. We have no idea to differentiate the difference. All right, so you said that you're going to be going to Indiana, Kokomo, Indiana. Mm-hmm. This is what you alluded to earlier.
Yes. Yeah, we're driving to Indy. It's just north of Indianapolis. I looked it up. And we're driving to Indianapolis to eat on our way to Columbus.
Okay.
So the driver of said car listens to this podcast.
Oh.
So I'll let you know in a couple weeks what he says after he listens to this.
Okay. So maybe you guys want to take a detour, stop in there, and see if you can hear the sound in Kokomo, Indiana.
Yes, I'm trying to think of the words of the song that involves Kokomo.
Well, it's the Beach Boys.
It is the
Kokomo.
Beach Boys. Yes.
Yeah. Down in Kokomo.
Gonna hear the sounds. Down in Kokomo. You should just be surprised I got out of bed and put pants on today, let alone remember that song.
Okay. The city allocated $100,000 in 2002 to investigate a hum after nearly 100 complaints were made since 1999. Investigators did not find any conclusive cause and suggested non-acoustic phenomena such as microwave, that's radio frequency, hearing, electrosensitivity, chemical sensitivity, hypersensitivity to natural geomagnetic phenomena may cause the types of symptoms that these people are experiencing. That's a whole bunch of possibilities.
Yeah, there's always, I feel like, and we've said it before, there's always some sort of explanation as to why things happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's never the case of just a weird thing happening because of a crazy story of a witch, putting a curse on a person. It's not. There's other. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's talk about the final one here. Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Windsor is. Do you know where Windsor is?
Windsor, no, but you should know because you live there.
Well, I mean, Windsor is closer to you than it is me. Windsor is.
It's all part of Canada. That's you. It's just outside of Detroit.
Yeah, it's right. Detroit and Windsor share a border. Like, you can go from one country to the next very easily through the city of Detroit. Okay, so in Windsor, the phenomenon first noticed in 2009 has been reported since 2011. A study by Earthquakes Canada indicated that it may be originating from the heavily industrialized Zug Island area on the U.S. side of the Detroit River. So,
Good old
blame the
Zug Island.
What'd you say?
It's a good old Zug Island.
At it again.
Well, okay. So in my younger days, I was quite the fan of the Insane Clown Posse.
Oh yeah.
And they talk about Zug Island quite a bit. They actually had a rock group that they toured with called Zug Island.
Oh, I had no idea. I thought you were just kind of playing along.
Nope. I've heard of that before.
Okay. All right. So, as of 2013, a Canadian scientist is using sound level meters and portable pentangular array of cameras and microphones, that's a mouthful, to try and precisely identify the source of the sound in order to know who exactly to ask to fix it. They're spending all this money to figure out who they should send the bill to, basically.
Someone's got to pay for it.
Yeah. I would love to hear from anybody who's listening to this podcast who has experienced any of these hums. I know that you're going to do some investigation personally.
Yes.
And you got your friend that's gallivanting across the country. He's going to stop into Taos, New Mexico, hopefully.
Yeah, he says he's going to try and hit it on their way back to town.
Okay.
So,
but I would also love to hear from our listeners too. So, there's a couple of ways that they can do that, right, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. There are all sorts of ways. If you have feedback, you can send us an email at weird@gncasts or by calling our voicemail number at 805-328-3966.
All right. And where can people find out more about the podcast?
For more on this podcast, including show notes, contact info, and subscription links, go to gncasts.com/weird. For other shows from the Galactic Netcasts, go to gncasts.com.
Including your other podcast of Terror.
Yes, which every couple of months turns into a 3-hour-long beep show when Matt Vincent comes on. Yeah, it's usually half an hour long. Unless Matt is on, then it's at least 2.5 hours.
And we've got a crossover episode coming up where we're going to talk about a story that inspired a movie, and then you guys are going to talk about the movie.
Yes. I don't know if Corey knows about that, but Corey, if you listen to this and I haven't told you yet, we're doing that.
We went so long, I got to start playing this again. One more thing, subscribe to this podcast via iTunes, and if you like what you hear, hopefully you do, we thank you for that, but also give us a 5-star rating and write a review. We're on Stitcher as well, Stitcher Smart Radio. You can leave a comment on this episode there. All subscription options and links can be found under the subscribe tab at gncasts.com. That's going to do it for this episode of Weird World Weekly. Until next time, Matt, what do you want to do?
Weird, keep it.
Okay. And that was kind of weird by itself.
See? Yeah, Yoda'd it up.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next time. Hey, there you go. Found the slider, the fader this time. All right. So that is stopped.
Yeah.
Are you up for one more?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That way we don't have to worry.
Always tired, so if I yawn, don't take it as a bad thing.
Okay. All right, hang on. Let me save this. I got some editing to do on that one.
Like when you got up and walked away, and I was like, Dave's gonna have a hard time editing this in post.
No, it's our water heater was on. I'm like, when's it turning off? So I just unplugged it. I got enough water up there.
You'd hope.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's good. All right. Let's just start it. Let's just get into it here. I'm going to talk about the poltergeist.
The Exorcist?
I mean, The Exorcist. Sorry.
I was like, you have one name in the title, a different one in it, and then you said a different movie.
Really?
Get your shit together, Dave.
No. Hang on.
Yeah, because
Oh.
we started out with the Amityville Horror, and then you changed it to The Exorcist.
Okay, hang on. Let me change that. All right. So, start the audio recording. That's a go. It's a go. And we'll start the intro, and we'll be going. So, here we go. Hello. Welcome to Weird World Weekly, a production of Galactic Netcasts. I'm Dave Nelson, and joining me, as always, Matt Stein. Hello, Matt.
Hi. So if I'd miss a week, does my as always end?
You have never missed a week, and you will never miss a week, because I will not do this show without you.
I mean,
So your question is mute.
okay, so theoretically, but I will not argue with you.
Yes. I mean, we may come to a point where, you may miss an episode, but at that time, I will always say, joining me as always is Matt. Like I always include your voice on the Sci-Fi Geeks Club, which is another podcast on the Galactic Netcast Network. And you're always on it because we always play your voice at the end of the show.
I don't know if I'm honored or if that's creepy.
It's become a thing. It's just a thing.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll take it.
Okay, this is the podcast where we discuss the paranormal, the mythological, the conspiratorial, unexplained, or anything else that we find weird, odd, strange, or unusual. And this is a special episode because this is our first ever crossover episode with your podcast, the Podcast of Terror.
Yes. And I'm mildly upset that we discounted my idea of forcing the listener to play both episodes simultaneously to get the entire experience.
I mean, you could do that still.
We could, but the reality is that it would be a lot of work to edit, and I'm lazy.
Yeah. Or you could just play them both at the same time. Like the listener could do that. Like one on one device and another on another device and listen to them at the same time.
And then if you play one backwards, we explain to you how to find treasure.
Yeah, that's how we have hidden code in all these episodes. You should know that by now.
Yep.
We've been doing it for all the 52 episodes.
Yep.
All right.
We've already said too much.
Yeah. Shh, quiet. Before we start, we would like to remind you that you can support our endeavors into podcastery with patreon.com/galactic netcasts. So we've got the Weird World Weekly. We got the Podcast of Terror. We've got Who Knew and Review. We've got what's the one that
Adventure Party?
Adventure Party. Thank you. Sorry, Brad. Sci-Fi Geeks Club, the Alien Invasion, Galactic Gaming News. We've got the new Exploring the X-Files podcast. I mean, the network is growing, and we need your help with the hosting of the audio and the hosting of the website. And you can do that by donating as little as $1 a month. All right. Now, if you up that to $3 a month, you'll get rewards like a newsletter once a month with stories related to this podcast, like a additional reading, sort of. And then for $5 a month, you'll get an extra episode of each of our podcasts available exclusively to our patrons. So Patreon, patreon.com/Galactic Netcasts is the place to go. And we thank you for your support of Galactic Netcasts.
I don't like how you graze over the $20 one where you get to pick a podcast. I'm considering paying that just so I can get a cooking podcast.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
Go ahead. $20 a month. We welcome it. And with that level, you get to pick the podcast and be the executive producer on it. Like you get to create a brand new podcast and make one of us dummies host it.
I'll even let you watch it and call me a big stupid idiot.
You'd be the executive producer, so you could be in charge. You'd be like, "You're not doing that right. I want you to do this here, talk about that there, or else you're fired, mister."
Wear short shorts on camera. No, maybe not.
More smiles.
More smiles.
I want you eating cheese during it.
Get real sweaty and breathe heavy.
Yeah. So yeah, go for it, man. $20 a month. That's patreon.com/galactic netcast. We welcome it, but please keep it recurring. Just don't do just the $20 a month and then just abandon us. That's not good. That's not cool.
If you abandon us, we'll abandon your podcast.
Yes. All right. So let's get into the concept of this crossover episode. So what we're going to do here is talk about a subject that inspired a movie, a famous horror film. And then on Podcast of Terror, you and Corey are going to talk about that, discuss it in detail. Right?
We'll try. What I foresee happening is I'll get off topic and Corey will bring it back full circle.
That happens slightly here, and I could see how it would happen a lot easier on that podcast.
Yes, because I'm in charge over there, which God help us all. At least here you're in charge, and it's more difficult for me to get off topic.
I crack the whip. I keep us in line. I keep the train going forward, right?
Yes, that's what I like about you.
Thanks, man. Thanks. All right, so what we're going to talk about is the real story behind The Exorcist. You ever seen The Exorcist, 1973 horror film, also adapted from a book of the same name? And actually, the book was inspired by a real-life exorcism case.
Yes, which on Halloween, they performed an exorcism on the house live on TV.
Oh, in the house where this exorcism took place?
Yes, which Corey and I talked about around the week after Halloween or whatever on Podcast Terror. It was a complete waste of time, but
nothing happened?
No, it was like a 2 hour long thing on TV, and it was like 4 minutes was the actual exorcism, and it was a TV spectacle, but it was cool that it was in the Exorcist house.
It was kind of like what's his face, Geraldo Rivera opening up the what do you call it, the safe of El Capone, right?
Oh yeah.
Nothing happened.
It's hard to look at him and not just see mustache.
Yeah, he's just one big giant mustache. You're right. Okay, so the true story took place in 1949 in Cottage City, Maryland. The victim of this possession was a 13-year-old boy known to the public as just R, whose identity has been kept a secret to this day and documented under the pseudonym Ronald Doe or Robbie Mannheim. R has never spoken to the public about what he went through, and only a few people know about his whereabouts. So apparently this guy is still alive, at least as of the date of the article where I got this information from. R was an only child who was dependent. So here's the whole backstory. R was an only child who was dependent towards the adults in his household for friends, since most of the children in his area found him quiet, unpopular, and withdrawn. Sounds familiar. That could have been me at his age. That's pretty much the description of me as well. But I didn't get possessed, and there wasn't a exorcism
that you remember.
I may have blocked it out. Who knows? Okay, so he primarily spent his time with his Aunt Harriet. His aunt, who was a spiritualist. We might have a problem here.
Yeah.
His aunt introduced R to the Ouija board or Ouija board when he showed curiosity in it. There you go. There's your problem. You got yourself a Ouija board.
It was your first problem.
Yeah.
Well, at least presumably the first problem. Could have been smoking crack and worshiping Satan for all we know.
Yeah. You know what? Again, like we've always mentioned on our episodes, there's usually more than one explanation for these things. And in this case, I don't think it's just the Ouija board. I think there was some other mojo going on here. The conditions were right for this to happen, I think.
Oh, absolutely. But like, it's hard to say. I mean, the Ouija board was the first thing, presumably, that he showed curiosity in. But there's crap. It's on not Discovery, Destination America. It's a show called The Demonologist, and the guy talks about like items people buy that are attached to demons and stuff, and it could have started with that, and then the Ouija board came into play, and it kind of got worse from there. But usually Ouija boards aren't a good thing. I played with one in high school, and as far as I know, I'm not possessed by a demon or have a house haunted or anything.
As far as you know.
As far as I know, but I feel like I'd know by now. I mean...
Oh, we don't tell you when you black out and start speaking in tongues.
What? Oh, crap. I got to start watching the videos to make sure I don't do anything crazy to it. My wife says I talk in my sleep, so...
That could be it.
Yeah.
Good.
Could also
so after
a peanut butter sandwich.
After Aunt Harriet's death, R's family experienced odd noises. For instance, unexplained thumping, tapping, and banging coming from empty rooms. Or it could be adults having sex in the house.
Or rabbits in your basement.
Uh-huh.
That happens in my house.
Also, furniture moving on its own, such as dressers, coffee tables, etc. Now, that's getting into weird territory right there. That's something that is unusual, not normal for an average household.
It's in your average house, things aren't going to move on their own.
No.
Just throwing that out there.
The family believed that maybe these weird events were happening because the aunt was attempting to communicate with them from the afterlife. As time went by, the strength of these noises only grew and grew. After that, events took a powerful turn. R's mother walked in once to find the entire bed with her son in it, shaking violently. The family turned to their Lutheran pastor, Luther Miles Schulz, for assistance. Schulz, or Schulze, arranged for R to spend a night in his home in order to watch him. Schulze claimed he witnessed household objects and furniture moving by themselves. Schulze advised the boy's parents to see a Catholic priest. Oh, yeah. The Catholics, they know what they're doing. Bring in the Catholic priest. So, okay, let me ask you, so far, because you've seen the movie, right?
Multiple times.
Okay. How does this match up to the movie? Is it close at all?
The bed shaking and all that stuff is portrayed in the movie. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't specifically recall like the kid pulling out a weed, because it's about a mom who's and mind you, at the time of recording this, I have not watched the movie to record the podcast terror episode.
Okay.
So it's about a mother who's an actress and then her daughter. The daughter, Reagan, is the one who gets possessed. I don't recall a portion where Reagan pulls out a Ouija board. I think they move into a new house and she starts seeing Captain Howdy, which is the demon.
Okay.
But I think a lot of the actual possessions and the crazy stuff that happens and the actual exorcism is all based on reality.
Do you guys stick to your movies that are just like available on streaming services, or do you just pick any movie?
We pick any movie in which we can get our hands on in some form.
Okay.
So like if I have it, I can get it to Corey. via what?
I was wondering if this was on Netflix. Do you know if it's on
I
Netflix?
don't know. I can take a look real quick.
I'm guessing the remake. Wasn't there a remake of this?
There's a prequel,
Okay.
Exorcist: The Beginning.
Okay.
The Exorcist. It's probably not because it's not available streaming.
Okay. So you'll have to figure it out some other way of getting it. Or no, you said that you have it, right?
I own it, yeah. So what I'll probably do is rip it to my computer, and then Corey will just stream it off my desktop.
Okay. All right. So according to the story, R then underwent a number of exorcisms. Edward Hughes, a Roman Catholic priest, conducted an exorcism on Roland at Georgetown University Hospital, a Jesuit institution. During the exorcism, R was said to slip one of his hands out of the restraints, then breaking a bed spring from under the mattress, in which he used as a weapon, slashing the priest's arm and resulting in the exorcism ritual being cut short. So not only did he break free of his restraints, right?
Mm-hmm.
He ripped, little kid, ripped a bed spring out of the bed and used it as a weapon, slashing the priest's arm. I think you got a problem. I think there's more than just the kid involved here.
It's like some bad whiskey. That sounds like something I'd do. Oh, too much fire water.
Bad whiskey or possession? You figure out. All right, so there's just a little bit more here. The family then travels to St. Louis, where R's cousin contacted one of his professors at St. Louis University, Raymond J. Bishop, who in turn spoke to William S. Bowdern, an associate of College Church. Together, both priests visited Roland in his relative's home, where they allegedly observed a shaking bed, flying objects, the boy speaking in a harsh and rasping voice. That always freaks me out. And displaying hatred to anything sacred. Bowdern was given permission from the Archbishop to perform another exorcism. So far they've been through, what, 2 exorcisms?
Yeah. There was... I don't know a lot about the actual story, but there was multiple exorcisms. So like at least 2.
It must be really powerful, like possession, to have to really bring in the big guns, you know?
They claim that it was potentially Satan himself, or as close to as Satan as you can get in a possession, which I don't know. Like I don't know the possessionometer. I don't. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how it works, but that's apparently one of the worst possessions in history.
Have you ever seen video of an actual possession? Or
no. Have you?
I think I've seen actual footage.
Well, and that's the other thing. I'm so jaded by the internet that if it says, ooh, actual possession, I don't know if it's really true.
Yeah. But you hear stories. I mean, there's a lot of stories from actual like priests and things.
There's a lot of stories about a lot of things, and that's I really want to talk to like a priest that's willing to talk about what they've seen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have exorcism courses, like schools that priests have to go through. Like there's a place in like Italy, near the Vatican, where they actually go through training about how to handle or how to do exorcisms.
Yeah.
So this is actually a common this is a common problem throughout the world. It's not just in America.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, obviously, there has to be a school. It's something you hear a lot about are exorcisms, but you never hear the aftermath.
Nope. All right. So one more paragraph here. Before the next exorcism began, another priest, Walter Halloran, was called to the psychiatric wing of the hospital, where he was asked to assist Bowdern. William Van Roo and a third Jesuit priest was also there to assist. Halloran stated that during this scene, words such as evil and hell, along with other various marks, appeared on R's body. Apparently, during the litany of the saints part of the exorcism ritual, the boy's mattress began to shake. It was said R broke Halloran's nose during the process. Halloran told a reporter that after the rite was over, the R went on to lead a rather ordinary life. So this boy, it seems like after this many exorcisms, he was rid of the evil spirits.
It could also be steroids.
Okay.
The kid was juicing. That's what I'm starting to hear.
So he was a professional athlete back in the 1940s on the juice, on the steroids for performance enhancement.
Yep, it's doing HGH and broke an adult's nose.
All right, I think we solved it. It wasn't evil spirits after all. I'm curious to find out. I really want to listen to you guys' episode of you guys'.
You guys' guys.
Yeah, you guys, the two youths. Can't wait to listen to the episode of Podcast of Terror where you break down the exorcism. That's going to be good.
I'm excited because I love the Exorcist movie, and I hear on occasion that I hate almost all the movies that we review, which is not false. But once in a while we get a good one. So this is we never plan out far in advance the movies we're going to watch. Usually it's like a game day decision. So knowing in advance that I get to watch this again, excited.
So, is this the one where the little girl's head like completely
spins all the way around and she spits out pea soup?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Ooh, I'll have to find this and watch it.
Yeah, you will.
Okay. So that's it. That's the real case of the exorcism, or the real case that the book and the movie were based off of. What do you guys think? Let us know via feedback. We've got an email address. It's weird@gncasts.com. That's weird@gncasts.com. You can call our voicemail number and voice your opinion. 805-328-3966, 805-328-3966. If you've ever seen an actual possession or exorcism, or, what do you think of this? Do you think it's real? Let us know via feedback. You can find this show at gncasts.com/weird. For our other shows from Galactic Netcasts, what you do is you go to gncasts.com. That's where you'll find podcast of terror. So you listen to this episode, you go over there, you subscribe, or just listen to it. I'm sure that you'll like it enough to subscribe. Subscribe to Podcast of Terror, and it's a win-win situation. Win-win situation. Subscribe to this podcast via iTunes. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and write a review. We're also on Stitcher Smart Radio. You can leave a comment on this episode there as well. All subscription options and links can be found under the subscribe tab at gncasts.com. That's going to be it, Corey. I mean, not Corey. Sorry.
Come on.
Matt, I was thinking Podcast of Terror. Matt, until next time. Matt, until next time, what do you want to do?
Let's keep it weird, Brad.
No, it's Anessa.
Keep it weird, Dave.
All right, there you go.